Welcome, ladies and gents. Chris Andre here. You can find me at BetBoxing on Twitter. Of course, you can subscribe to the channel. Let's talk boxing. Let's talk about what we saw tonight with the Florian Marku and Parra fight. First and foremost, it's baffling that Sky Sports did not have this on TV. There's all this criticism about, oh, the Zone's just an app and things like that. And then Sky Sports get a fighter through Boxer in Marku, who, you know, there's a big Albanian community here in the UK, and he's also popular among non-Albanians. I, for one, am a fan. I really like his style. He's great entertainment. And they end up putting him on their YouTube channel when Sky Sports had 3 channels simultaneously showing the same cricket event. People aren't flicking between those same channels thinking, yeah, I'm just going to flick from one to the other for no reason. The commentary's the same, everything's the same. Surely you should put this fight on Sky Sports Mix or something. So that was a shocking choice from Sky, in my opinion. In terms of the fight itself, listen, the event was superb in terms of it being great atmosphere and things like that. But this was a very contentious fight. And people will know that although I'm a fan of Marku's and I'm a fan of his entire team, I think Grant Smith's superb. How long have I said that here for? Long-time subscribers will know Sonny Edwards, who's his friend, and also a fighter of Grant Smith's, one of my favourite fighters. So, you know, I'm a fan of him and his team. I wanted him to win, but there's no bias on this channel. And this was a very controversial affair. It was a very controversial fight. So let's talk about it. The first couple of rounds, I actually had Parra winning. He started fast. He was able to throw a whole host of combination shots, which Marku at the time was willing to just have a high guard against. And it was quite a passive high guard. He's not trying to respond to the trajectory of the punches. Now, the majority of those are being caught in the forearms, the biceps, the shoulders, the gloves. But there are shots that are getting through. If you're throwing a 5-shot combination and 2 land and your opponent doesn't land and he's just trash talking you, and then you throw another 5 and again another couple get through and your opponent doesn't land anything, well, you've landed 4, he's landed none. I don't care if he's blocking a lot of them. He's getting outworked here. So considering it was a 10-round fight, it wasn't the best of starts, in my opinion, for Florian Marku. He did in the 3rd round start to pick it up, and he started to use more of an active guard. So still a high guard, but now he's responding. He's catching shots, he's turning with shots. They're coming off the gloves, they're coming off the forearms. He's starting to look for trigger counters as well, individual pot shots predominantly, rather than trying to build on it. But in my opinion, it gave him the round, and he started to up the tempo through the end of the round as well, and actually seemed to have Parra on the ropes, a little bit buzzed at one point, and he started to really open up on him. So a good 3rd round. The 4th was controversial, and it was one of the first moments of real controversy on this night, where the referee I thought was really terrible. And it was a 10-8 round for Marku. And I don't necessarily have a problem with the knockdown, because Marku caught him with a cupping sort of hook. And after that, there was a little nudge. Now, it's one of those, I guess, where you think to yourself, had the nudge not come, he probably doesn't hit the canvas. In fact, he doesn't hit the canvas. But had the hook not landed first, would that nudge have knocked him down? Probably not. So it's one of those where it's a bit controversial. They gave it a 10-8 round to Marku. Fair enough. We move on from that round, and Marku's now clearly upping the tempo, and Parra's starting to slow. And you're thinking, okay, maybe the momentum shifted. Parra was game in the first couple of rounds. You're seeing more varied shots coming from Marku now. He's building off of them. And then you get the open scoring. And the open scoring for me is terrible. It killed the excitement of the event. I had it at this point 38-37, like one of the judges did. But 2 of them had it 39-36. And you're thinking, if Parra started so well, and there are a couple of swing rounds in there, and I've got it at 38-37 tentatively, and you're thinking about how controversial that knockdown was as well. But then you see 39-36, you're thinking he's never getting a result in Albania here. And so it starts to kill the buzz for me a little bit. But anyway, we move on, and Parra in the next round starts trying to use a bit more of a bladed stance. In other words, he's coming in off the shoulder, and he's got his right hand cocked, and he's literally coming over as though he's going to throw a big right hand, and he's telegraphing it. And what you saw is Marku start to backtrack and maintain distance. But then he would do something that Josh Kelly likes to do, which I'm very critical of. You're moving, you're maintaining distance, your back hits the ropes, and then instead of pivoting out, even before your back hits the ropes, and box in a way in a circle within the squared circle, so that you're always aware of your angles and your distance, Marku would hit his back on the ropes and then stop still. And then have that high guard, and he's inviting Parra to unleash combinations. And in the meantime, he's trash talking him, and he's also looking to catch and counter within that. He's looking to punch off the back of the ropes, but nonetheless, you're giving up the pocket. You're telling the guy, all you have to do is basically walk in, and I'm going to let you get close. This is not a good tactic. It's dangerous. And I started to talk about how he was doing this on Twitter live through the fight, and how it was potentially dangerous to him. And you'll realize later on why it was indeed dangerous. The following round was another moment of controversy. Parra had a point deducted for pushing Florian Marku, or holding him and trying to throw a punch. I'm not sure what it was exactly. Shocking decision. It wasn't something that you saw consistently throughout the night that was causing an issue. I didn't see any warnings or anything like that. Really poor decision. And like I said, we might be fans of Marku, but we're honest with what we see. So that was a poor point. And then you're thinking, okay, Parra needs something huge now to turn this fight around, because otherwise he's going to lose. And he did get something huge. He landed a massive left hook in the following round and dropped Florian Marku. Now, he beat the count and you expected Parra to come on with an onslaught. He did a little bit towards the end of the round. And you're starting to think, well, Marku asked for it. Again, he's near the ropes and he's looking to catch and counter or punch with Parra. Why are you doing that? There's no need. You are such a better mover. You're more fluid than this guy. You've got the upper body movement to match. I understand you can't be on the front foot consistently if you need a break. We have seen Marku in the past fight and bursts. Maybe there's a stamina issue there. We've spoken about that in the past. But when you're not working, at least move around the ring so as not to allow the guy to just enter the pocket. So now I've got Marku 67-65 up, dropped in the 8th. And in the 9th, he's starting to look a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? Tentative, I guess. As though there were residual effects of him getting knocked down. But Parra didn't really up the tempo. He didn't really start to go for it. By the way, something else I didn't mention, when he was knocked down in the 8th, the referee also stopped the round about 8 seconds too early. This is ludicrous stuff, man. I mean, like I said, it was brilliant to have it out there in Albania. You saw a terrific set of fans, a great atmosphere. We saw the same sort of thing happen when Chris Billam-Smith was fighting Isaac Chamberlain recently in Bournemouth, whereby when you have a community that isn't really known for boxing or it hasn't brought that many stars through, when somebody then comes through, he becomes a star. And he's embraced by the crowd. And that can make for the feel of a massive event, even if somebody's not sort of world level. And you saw that with Marku. And you know the Albanians are passionate fans. You see it in football as well. So it created a real buzz, a great atmosphere out there. And, that's a fantastic thing to see. But if you're going to want to be able to hold events out there and to be able to be, considered the legitimate area for events, you can't see this many dodgy issues in the space of the same fight. It's just, it's a problem. You can't have it. And so there was a lot of controversy there. Now, at the end of the 9th, again, Marku, like I said, during the night, he looked tentative. Parra didn't really up it. You saw an open scorecard again. And again, it kills it for me. One of the judges had it like me. He had it level after 9. The other two had Marku up by 4 points. What is the point of watching now? You know that Parra needs a knockout. Okay, he's going to go for it. He probably would have gone for it anyway, knowing he's in Albania. But realistically speaking, it takes the buzz out of it. Those swing rounds, that bit where they're going to read out the scorecard at the end. You don't know which way it's going to go. Your heart's racing. You're nervous. There's none of that with open scoring. And in the final round, I thought, like I said, it was level, and one of the judges had it to Marku winning ultimately by 1 round. The others had him winning wide. I had it the same as the last judge, who gave it to Marku by a single round. But I wouldn't have had a problem if it had gone the other way, because Marku was landing eye-catching big flurries in the last round. But again, he wasn't really doing much work. They were sporadic in terms of output. And having that high guard, taking shots off the gloves and the forearms, and then trash talking isn't going to win you a round. Yeah, you can tell the crowd or you can tell the fighter, you're not having an effect on me. You're getting outlanded. So for me, Marku needs to work on a couple of things. First and foremost, don't give up the pocket as easily as you do. When you need a break, be willing to go for a walk and not just back up onto the ropes. Take a pivot out, get out of there. Also, I believe he's going to have to work somewhat on getting inside, tying up, using head control, using the manipulation of the opponent's body to stop him working. If you're going to need breaks in rounds, that you've got to be able to dictate and control the tempo. I didn't see enough of that today. And like I said, listen, really controversial, but it's not necessarily that Marku lost the fight. I had him probably winning by a single round, but I've got him winning by a single round because of the points deduction. Otherwise, I've probably got it a draw. You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot of controversy there, a lot for him to work on. Let me know what you think about this referee, what you think of open scorecards as a whole. Are you against them in the way that I am? And let me know what you thought about the technical elements of Florian Marku's performance. Maybe the event just got to him. Maybe that's going to be your viewpoint. It was such a big event back in Albania. He hasn't fought there for a long time. He's a celebrity out there. Maybe you expected a guy to just roll over. If you're looking for a guy to roll over, one thing you probably shouldn't be doing is getting a tough Mexican. Let me know what you think, ladies and gents. Thanks for watching. Chat to you soon. Take care. God bless.